Welcome to the Next Level Life podcast with Christine Corcoran. This podcast is made for the powerhouse businesswomen who are ready to ignite their fullest potential. This is where we will dive deep into the mindset breakthroughs and sprinkle in some kick up the butt motivation so you can scale your business with confidence and clarity. Whether you're craving more income, impact, or inspiration, this podcast will be your ultimate resource for all things next level. Listen in as we have authentic conversations with game-changing female entrepreneurs as we reveal the secrets of what it takes to rise and thrive. So go ahead, ignite your inner fire, and let's get you taking massive aligned action. Are you ready to elevate? Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I have a special treat for you. I know it's been a few weeks now since the Unstoppable Women event, and I'm sure that you've been seeing some of the reels and the video footage and the images from the incredible day that was Unstoppable Women. And I cannot even tell you the energy of that room, the connection that happened, the collaborations that have been happening. I've been having so many conversations since about the collaborations that are now happening, the connections that have been made with people that are like, oh, I admire this person from afar and now we're friends, right through to these are the new collabs that I'm doing, new business partnerships that I'm creating. And I'm just so blown away with everything that day entailed. It was such an incredible day, and the energy, honestly, it's so hard to describe the warmth and the connection that happened in that room from all the incredible women that were there. And so if you missed out on it, you may be looking at it and be like, wow, that looks like an amazing event. I wondered what it was going to be like. And I want to give you an insight into that. So today I'm going to share with you the recording of the Women on the Rise panel. This was an incredible discussion in the afternoon with 4 beautiful ladies, all about self-leadership, what it means to be unstoppable in business, leading and innovating in your space and in your industry. And I just loved this discussion. And so I wanted to share it with you to give you a little insight into what the event was all about, but also what it felt like to be there in the room. So I hope that you feel the energy from this, and I hope that you feel connected to the message and the beautiful things that the beautiful ladies shared. And if I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Share with me your feedback. So I'm going to share with you the recording of it, and hopefully next year you'll come and join us and be there in the room. So I want to take a moment just to share these incredible women with you. And the reason why I'm sharing this, there's many reasons. One, remember how I spoke to you about in the session earlier around your credibility markers? Every single speaker is sharing their credibility markers, which is helping you know why you should listen to them, right? Why you should care about what they're about to share, and also like what you can learn from them. So, and even like, it was so funny actually, because when I was asking all the speakers for their bio, there's a few I sent back and went, you could do better than that. I was like, where are your awards? Where are your years and years of experience? Right? We're so quick to just downplay our own successes. And so I was like, no, we do better than that. Let's come back with that. So let me first welcome beautiful Danni Vee on the end. Danni Vee is a high-performance coach, thought leader, and author. She's a powerhouse mentor, international best-selling author, award-winning businesswoman, and host of the transformational podcast, The Danni Vee Show. With over 25 years experience, which I made her add in, because she has been, building multiple successful businesses from the ground up. She's earned a reputation as the go-to coach for business owners and leaders who are done with surface-level success and ready to step into their fullest potential. A gold winner of the AusMumpreneur Awards and finalist in the Moreton Business Excellence Awards, Businesswoman of the Year and Entrepreneur of the Year.
Again this year as well.
Well done, yes. Danni blends high-performance strategy, energetic alignment, and neuroscience-backed coaching to create sustainable, soul-aligned growth for her clients.
Wow.
So good.
Thank you, Christine.
Love it. Now I'd love to introduce Amy Christopherson from HR, who's an HR expert and founder of the HR Link and Grounded HR. Amy is the, I've lost my track now, an innovative, part of the, blah, 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 blah. Take 2, sorry about that, love. As creator of the HR Link, an innovative HR support space for values-led business owners and Business Innovation Award finalist, Amy is leading a new wave of human resources support that is personal, practical, and purpose-led. Her work challenges the outdated view of HR as a box-ticking exercise, offering instead a grounded, accessible, and empowering alternative for values-led business owners. With over 15 years' experience in HR and a background in business with a track record across diverse industries, Amy blends strategic insight with deep empathy. She brings calm to complexity and helping leaders build confident, compliant workplaces where both people and business can thrive. Thank you very much. And this beautiful aqua suit. Oh my gosh, I love it so much, Cherie. The beautiful Cherie Canning is the founder of Illuminate Leadership, keynote speaker, podcast host, and courageous leadership advocate. She's a facilitator, keynote speaker, and founder of Illuminate Leadership, a leadership development company dedicated to helping organisations build courageous people-first cultures that drive performance and trust. Before launching her own business, Cherie spent almost 20 years at Flight Centre Travel Group in a range of roles from sales, senior leadership, and training and development. Following a pandemic redundancy, Cherie transformed challenge into purpose, founding Illuminate to support leaders who want to make a meaningful impact. Today, they work with organisations like LSKD, Brisbane Broncos, designing leadership experiences that leave lasting impact. She's also the host of the Lead with Courage podcast, where she interviews inspiring leaders on what it really takes to lead bravely in today's world. Her approach blends neuroscience, mindfulness, and practical tools to create lasting behavioural change. Welcome. And then the beautiful Lauren Clement. She's the brand navigator and CEO of the Audacious Agency. Can you see why I chose her? Audacious, ambitious, I love it. Lauren heads up the Audacious Agency, a premier profile building and award writing specialist company with over 3 decades of experience in brand management and a reputation as a sought after keynote speaker. Lauren empowers entrepreneurs and business owners to build powerful personal brands. As the brand navigator, Lauren and her team help leaders to boldly stand out from the competition and be sought after, credible brand champions. Are we excited? Amazing. So, I'm going to start with you, Lauren. Is that okay? In your opinion, what's one quality that makes a woman unstoppable in business, and how have you embodied that yourself?
Thank you very much. Now, I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking Pink has really let herself go. If I look familiar, and I get that all the time, if someone comes up to me and says, "You look really familiar, I've seen you somewhere before," I normally say, "Do you watch much porn?" And you now have to use that if anyone does that to you. Thank you, Christine, for such a great question. The number one thing I believe for being unstoppable is self-belief. And it's very easy to say, I don't care what people think about me. It was easy, wasn't it? But to actually do that is a lot harder. And I do think we should care what the world thinks about us, but not as much as we think about ourselves and how much we care for ourselves. So the minute you tell that itty-bitty shitty committee inside your brain that you're not as bad as you think you are, you're actually doing pretty well, and just taking one step at a time and backing yourself and realising and taking the time to reflect on what you've achieved and where you've come from and what you're doing, you can do just about anything you put your mind to. So self-belief is the core of being unstoppable in life, let alone in business, but it's taking that time to realise no is a complete sentence. And if somebody asks you to do something that's not aligned with what you're doing, you can say no. And to, yes, think about what the world is thinking about you and how you're positioning yourself, but be more concerned about how you talk to yourself and the words you're using to back yourself up. And that's so important, just to have that enough that you believe that you're here for a purpose, and finding the time and the space once a day just to reflect on what you're doing and the impact that you're having, and go with that.
Amazing. Danni, what about you?
Yes, to be unstoppable. Well, I actually do have a gift for all of you in your gift bags. If you want to pull it out, it's a little mirror. And in there, it's about really knowing who you truly are. So to be unstoppable, you need to see her, you need to choose her, and you need to be her. So do you truly know who you are, and really stepping into that true authenticity and have that belief and knowing that you're worthy for what you want and you can achieve it.
Beautiful. The next question I'm going to pass to Amy. Is that okay? Well, of course it's okay. She's sitting here. What's one intentional way that you show up as a leader in your industry that helps you build authority or trust?
For me, it is definitely boundaries. Having boundaries with myself, having boundaries with my family, having boundaries with my clients and communicating those really, really clearly. I think that having those boundaries, you're actually giving yourself a gift. It's a gift of freedom to have those clear boundaries. And I have these conversations with colleagues all the time that are really appeasing their clients. They're answering emails and questions and phone calls at all God number of hours. And they're not then intentionally spending time with family, they're not working on themselves, they're not making time to do their CEO activities, they're just not doing all those things. And it's one thing, it's those boundaries. You need to put those boundaries in place. I didn't realise I had such good boundaries until I was in the entrepreneurial world, that I was very clear around my social media use, around opening my emails on my phone, around clicking off when I take annual leave. And, I'm an employee of my business and I'm entitled to take time out. And really a lot of that comes back to boundaries and communication. And I think that those things are just, you can't succeed in business if you don't have those things.
1,000%. Who needs to work on boundaries a little more? And it's one of those things that I think that, whenever you get frustrated in business, usually it's because you haven't put a boundary in place. It's like paying attention to that and be like, oh, I didn't either communicate that or I didn't communicate the boundary. Yeah, love that, Amy. What about you, Cherie?
So authority and trust.
Yeah.
I think there's an inner authority and trust and then an outward authority and trust. So I think inner is trusting yourself. So for me, I think it's getting really clear and always revisiting your own values and who you are as a person. So you've got your own inner trust. And externally, actually, Tina was a little bit of a catalyst for me, was to start a podcast. And I had, heard people, I'm looking at you, Olivia, but I've heard so many people say the great thing about the podcast is that people can just see into a little window into who you are and get to know you in a really passive way, in a way, but to build that authority and trust. And I'd heard it and I'd heard it. And then I read Tina's book and went, I'm going to start a podcast. So that's something that I really enjoy doing. And then I think also on LinkedIn, I've got a regular little newsletter, but it is just me. Like, it's not the business part of me, that's all there too, but it's just like a little always curious, what have I learned, and from my daughter or from coming to an event or just from a shitty day. So I think just putting that out regularly, I don't know who even reads it, I don't know even who listens to it, but every now and then people will go, oh, I heard that thing. You go, all right, it's working out there.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love you to keep the mic and I'd love for you to share what does Unstoppable mean to you.
Yeah, for me, it's really wonderful because I was thinking about self-belief being a big thing. I think it's about having a challenge tribe, those people in your life that will absolutely give you the feedback you need to hear, but also hold you when you need you. But I think actually the key element from my perspective is the courage to own your own energy and really look after your own energy. And I think there's elements of that, just your daily habits and what that looks like, but also knowing your triggers, knowing, the emotional bank account, like understanding all the withdrawals that are coming out at any day, season, but then knowing what are your deposits. And so having a conscious awareness of what are the things that fill my cup, what are the things that give me energy in micro moments, but also in long-term moments as well. Because then when the self-belief comes in, when your energy is in a really abundant state and you have a, bad cash flow, you don't get the proposal, you get bad news, the self-belief is there because the energy's here. But when we're not really the courage to say no and the boundaries of the energy down here, those challenges are really hard.
Yeah, amazing. And Amy, do you want to back that up as well with what's unstoppable
for me,
to you?
it's actually that trust piece. I found trusting myself, trusting the journey really, really difficult. Trusting in what I'm creating is valuable. I've always had really high self-worth, but it's actually the trusting of the process, trusting that the people that you surround yourself are going to have your back, that your team are going to support you when you bring them in. It's like there's such a huge trust piece that is attached to having a business and growing something that's really impactful and that's going to make change in the world. So I feel like that has probably been my biggest learning curve.
Love that. Lauren, I'd love for you to answer the next one. What's one intentional way that you're showing up as a leader that helps build trust and authority?
Well, of course, I would say awards. Ta-da. But I think also, we've written, I don't know how many, 1,700 award entries in the last few years for people, but we've also entered our own selves into awards. So, and it's always a bit of a worry because you think, well, we're an award writing agency, what if we don't win? It's really bad. But we've won, like Telstra's and Australian Small Business Champion Awards, our team have won awards for what they do, which is really exciting. But I think it's just, if you're open to exposing your business to being judged, then, and you're asking your clients to do that, then you have to do that yourself. So we also step into being an awards judge. So I've been judging the franchise awards this year. I've just finished judging the Able Book Awards. I'm about to step into the Stevie Awards for Women in Business and judge those. But I've also nominated myself. So I'm also in those awards. I've got my book up for awards and so on. So I'm seeing both sides of how it all plays out. And you have to have a certain amount of integrity to be able to do that and to recuse yourself when you know there could be some bias that comes in. Because long term, people will know. People will judge you based on how you behave, not what you say. And long term, if you want to build that authority as a go-to expert or a profile or someone with influence, you have to have that integrity. You have to walk the talk. So awards definitely is something, as you say, from an external point of view, there's nothing better than that third-party endorsement. But knowing that you have taken the time to reevaluate where you're at and open yourself up to judgment and to put yourself out there is a really big, it's a bit scary, but when you do it and you get that feedback from the judges, it's just phenomenal in terms of that ongoing belief that, hey, I'm doing all right. And then you've got that tangible aspect, you know, you pick up your award, you know, you hold that trophy and you realise that, hey, I'm actually doing okay. You know, it's not all that bad, I'm doing all right. So it's pretty cool.
And I think as well, like, it's so good for you to do that self-reflection of like how far you've come, and it's a huge confidence builder because you're like, holy crap, look what I've been able to achieve.
Women never stop. How many people here would stop to go, wow, look at what I did this week? No, there's no way to stop. There's the kids and there's the house and there's this other stuff you've got to do on the weekend and the basketball and everything else that's going on. So yeah, it's a really vital part in your business as an entrepreneur to take that time to reflect, because we are too busy as women looking at what's happening tomorrow and what's happening next.
I love it. And I want everyone to keep in mind as well, like your next level can be an award winner. Don't discount yourself straight up, because what I love about what Lauren does is like there will be a category for you to win.
There's an award for trench digging, if anyone digs. You're in. So I mean, awards for every level. So a lot of the time people go, oh, I don't think I've done enough. And then they tell me their story. Like the woman who once said to me, I don't think I've done enough. And I said, tell me your story. She said, well, I came from poverty. I knew I had to get ourselves out of poverty. I wanted to be an accountant. I then learned as a child that I need to go to university. Couldn't afford that. So she went, I'll just go and work at McDonald's and I'll make my way to earn enough to get to university. She never left McDonald's. She now owns 12 of them. And she said to me, I don't think I've done enough to enter awards. And I was like, crazy. So yeah.
So good. Danni, I'd love for you to take the next one. What does self-leadership mean to you and how has it shaped your journey as a business owner?
I guess it really goes back to that self-belief. We're going to have a theme today. Self-leadership is actually taking responsibility too. So having that radical responsibility and owning who you are and the actions and mistakes that you make. And understanding that, you know, sometimes you're not where you are because you haven't done the work as well. So really taking the responsibility to lead yourself and get to where you want to be. Do those actions that you're speaking about, thinking about people that you can connect with. What are you doing to actually get to where you are and lead yourself?
Sheree, do you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question because it's so linked to what we do every day, and we've got like an ideal leader framework in our work that we do with clients. And the first part is lead self, and then lead people and lead business. So I feel like the lead self is an onion. Like there's not this, oh, you get here and then you're done. It's just that constant in life. I feel like it's really important for us, whether I notice how many hands were up saying working solo in the room before. So whether it's working solo or working with teams. That we can answer those questions of maybe the intellectual leading self-knowledge. So, you know, what's your Myers-Briggs, your HBDI, your 6 working geniuses? Like, do you know all of those answers in almost a this is me, picture of yourself and all of your strengths and gaps and owning those? I think that's on an intellectual level. And then there's an emotional level, I feel as well. Like the self-leadership to me is understanding what are your fears, what are the things that come out, but how do you actually really embody them? Because we can't always fix that by thinking about them. The knowledge is important, but how do you actually physically move that through your body so you're not stuck there? But I feel like self-leadership, it has to be our number one investment in ourselves, and whether that's in time, money, courses, exposure to conversations, it comes in so many forms, but always learning about ourselves.
Love that. And Amy, I want you to add to this as well. But if the word leader is tripping you up, if you're thinking like leader is some dude in an ivory tower, I'm not a leader, you are. When we're talking about leader or self-leadership, it's having a form of influence. How you influence yourself, how you influence your kids, how you influence your friends, your family. You have a form of influence, like we created your circle of influence, right? So the self-leadership piece is the first part of that. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And leading on from that, I think that for me, self-leadership is also authenticity. So you can't lead really well if you're not your authentic self. And for me, I might be a HR person, but I'm actually a fully trained early childhood teacher as well. So I took a break from my career as a HR person and I went and became an early childhood teacher. And what I learnt from that was that for under fives, we teach them how to be individuals and we encourage those individual pieces. When they get to school, we get thrown into a box, right? Everybody needs to fit in this box. And I feel like as adults, then our self-leadership piece comes from becoming our authentic selves again, right? Learning as much as we can about ourselves and how we operate. I am not an extrovert. I thrive on doing these kinds of things, but then I'll go and hermit for a good week or so, or you'll see me again, right? But it's taken me so long to realise that that's how my body works, that's how I work, and that's how my energy cup works. So I think really learning about ourselves and how we authentically turn up in the world makes everything else so much easier. Right? It just makes it so that we can be ourselves and make our impact, but do it in our way. I'm not your corporate HR person. I am looking at you, the person that's in front of me. I'm looking for a solution that is made for you, not some, pre-made, structure or policy that's going to fit in place. I want to make it work for you, and I think that is about the self-leadership and authenticity piece.
Yeah, love that. Thank you for adding that. I'm going to stay with you, Amy. What's one way you have innovated or helped your clients innovate to get ahead in business?
So for me, it's the HR link. So I recognised a couple of years ago that there was no space for small business owners to really get personalised HR advice. The big companies that were created that were tailored to small business weren't actually tailored to small business. They don't get personalised advice. They don't get anything other than some templates and maybe some advice from someone who might know what they're talking about. So I created the HR link because that is what's personal to me. I want businesses to feel like they matter and I want them to have the right advice for them. So for me, it was a huge step to call that out and say, you know what these companies are doing is not right, and to then create a solution that really is tailored to what they need. Small businesses need this advice from day dot. From the first time that they go to hire an employee, they need this advice, and it was not accessible. And I think that innovation, you don't need to be the loudest voice. You just need to be really authentic about what you're giving, and that it is the solution to what they need. So I never thought of myself as an innovator in any way, and yet I was a finalist in awards just 2 weeks ago for business innovation. And thank you. And I never would have done that or even thought that was a possibility a few years ago. So yeah, it was amazing, and I'm so proud of what I've created now.
And that took so much courage, and took you listening to your ideal clients, right, and being like, okay, I'm willing to go against the grain and do something different, which is amazing. So good.
Absolutely.
Cherie, what's one way you've innovated or helped your clients innovate?
I too actually default to go, I don't think I'm overly innovative. I wouldn't necessarily connect that. And then you go, okay, how else can I look at this? And I think for me, it would be in a collaboration. For us, last year, the year before, we started collaborating with my long-term friend and mentor who created a program called The Goddess in the Boardroom. And so I feel I went on there as a participant in 2021, and I would say it radically changed me internally a lot. It's all around, and I have a very dear friend in the room who was on that program, and she has stated the same thing, like has really what she gained through that experience helped her with, you know, some major moments in life. And so we collaborated with the program. We ran it last year. When I say we, Rachel and I, and it is essentially 12 women coming together to talk about how do you, I guess, next level in your own life over 9 full days. But it's so much, what's unique and I guess innovative from my perspective is that it's all in your body. So it's a lot of breath work. It's a lot of somatic practices, Kundalini yoga, a lot of expressing yourself. It's different. It's actually wild, and it is so intimidating, and it is not for everyone, and it changes people's lives. So that for me, I think it took a lot of risk to even say, okay, we're going to put our company brand with this, because it's really out there. Like, it really is not for the faint-hearted. Ash is sitting here. Yeah, it's wild, but wildly transformational. So I think, yeah, the courage to say I'm willing to put that out there and take the risk that it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but as we were told, go find wasn't your cup of tea. Go and find another pot, another teapot,
another tea shop.
So yeah, the goddess in the boardroom, I'd say, because it literally is changing people's lives.
Love that. And was it something like deep inside you that you were like, I have to bring this to people, or what was it within you that made that?
Because it is so difficult to explain. And as I was watching today, I'm like, oh, is this what the challenge with Goddess? I'm like, no, because it's so unique. Because you're talking about the 7 energy centres or 7 chakras, and where are you blocked, and what are the stories we hold, and what are, is it about ego? Is it a sense of belonging? Is it compassion and judgment? What is going on for you? Is it your voice chakra and you're not speaking your truth? Like, understanding then how that is all connected. So I had my own understanding of that, and I think in 2021, and to the point where this sounds a bit, it's not everyone's thing, but I ended up having a hysterectomy as a result of it. And I say as a result of it because I finally started listening to my body, and I finally started hearing the whispers and thinking, this isn't right. And then I'm unearthing more and more and more. So from a physical capacity, that was huge for me. And then in my business, I think I was new in business. I'd only started it a year before. So the confidence in myself to understand the voices of fear that are there, and that's okay. We can thank them for being there, but I'm going to choose this path instead. So that experience for me that I had was seriously profound. And I'm like, everyone needs this. Yeah, everyone needs this. So that's where it came from.
Love it. What about you, Lauren? What's one way that you've innovated?
I'm going to start with a story because I love stories. When we went to New York, not last year before, for the Stevie Awards for Women in Business, a little plug, in November, we came up out of the subway on the Sunday late afternoon, and everybody was walking around with their jackets on, because it's cold in New York in November, with their medals on. And the New York Marathon had been on that morning. And this is the evening, and people are still walking around with their medals around their necks. And the next day, people were still coming out into the cafes wearing their marathon medals, and the next day, and the next day. And they were on the outside of their jackets. Now, my husband's run 2 marathons, and I've been there for one of them, and I know when he finished his marathon, he got a medal, and he took a photograph, and then he took it off and put it in his pocket. And the difference between the way Americans celebrate success, I know you were talking about earlier today, and the way Australians and New Zealanders celebrate success is chalk and cheese. And Erica will blow you away with what she says this afternoon, because we need to learn the fuck how to do that. Yeah, we need to get over that imposter syndrome, that tall poppy syndrome, tell it to rack off, because you've worked bloody hard for those awards, right? We know from our research 80% of people in Australia and New Zealand who win awards do nothing to leverage them.
Crazy.
It's crazy, nothing. They might go to an awards night, they get a nice photograph, have a nice evening out, and then they sit on a shelf at home somewhere and no one ever talks about it. Worse, if you go and you don't win, you slink off into a corner somewhere, right? So we've innovated in the fact that the minute we submit a client's entry for them, we start leveraging before it's even been announced. Because sometimes it could be 3, 6 months or even a year before the awards get announced. So you're not going to wait for 3 months. You've just invested all that time and effort in getting it going and starting these things and spending this time and putting it together. And we put in some pretty good submissions. To wait that long is ridiculous. So we've started innovating by going, we're gonna as the minute we've said, hey, we've submitted that for you, here's a bunch of graphics, here's some blogs, here's some articles, here's some social media. Get out there and start talking about it now. And then guess what? You get another bite at the cherry when they announce the finalists. And okay, I wasn't a finalist. I still talk about it. I still talk about my journey, about what I learned about myself, about that whole reflection period. And I thank my team and I thank my supporters. And then you go to the awards night and you don't win. Boo-hoo, big deal. You still get up and give an acceptance speech, not on stage, but to your phone. And you record it and you put it out there on social media, say, we didn't win, but I'm so proud of my team. I'm so proud of what we did to get here. And you put that out on social media. We're so afraid of what people think of us, and we're so concerned about our ego. We need to grow some balls in this country, women, because we work bloody hard, yeah?
Grow ovaries.
Ovaries, yeah. Yeah, unless you're without them. So, but yeah, you've worked really hard for what you've achieved. And if who in the room has won some sort of award or a certification or something, yeah, you need to be talking about it today, right? Remember Stephen Bradbury? He won a gold medal for not falling over, basically. Yeah. And he did that back in 2002, and he's still
keynoting about it every week.
Got a beer called Last Man Standing. He's got a book. He speaks on stages. So just keep talking about your wins. Yes, be humble, be real, be honest, have authenticity, but don't hide your light. It's so important. We can't be what we can't see. Yeah?
Love it.
You need to set an intention that you are a leader.
Amazing. Okay, we're going to do a fire round answer of this question, because I don't want to fire answer, even though it's a big question. So I'm like, how are we going to do this? But we're going to do it. I want you to share a challenge or a mindset block that you've had to overcome truly for you to step into your next level.
It's a really big one. I've got 22 seconds. All right.
I'm going to ask everyone to answer this, so we're going to go a few minutes at a time.
I guess my biggest challenge to expand my business is actually money mindset. So I had a really deep belief, which obviously there's layers underneath the money mindset of belief in self and belief in sales and speaking about what I actually do. And Christine actually helped me with the money mindset. She's an incredible money mindset coach. And I just didn't believe that I had the capacity to hold the wealth. So, and I didn't know that at the time. I had to go through the deep understanding and learning of it. And until I actually expanded and did the work, I was like, amen, sister, everything you were just talking about then, because, doing that energetic work and clearing the beliefs in your mind, but also what you're holding in your body, because your mind is connected to your body, and releasing all of that and making the room to hold what you deserve. That was my biggest block, and when I unblocked that, I've expanded exponentially.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mine is readjusting the old ways of being in a big organisation, that there's always someone else to ask for, is this the right direction, and to check in, and to remember it's okay to gain feedback or perspective from the right people, but actually just back your own decision, and it will be okay. Even when it's not okay, it'll be okay.
I love that. That's so good.
So mine is the same. Mine is money mindset, but it was more so around holding on to old stories that were created by my parents. It was about, that you don't need to earn heaps of money to be happy. You don't need to... I never had an example of a business owner in my family, so I never had that example set for me. So I held on to all these beliefs, and I travelled Australia for 4 years with my family in a caravan. That's where I actually started my business. And through that journey, I also created this minimalistic mindset that I didn't realise I'd created, that I can live with 20 cents in my bank account and I'm okay. And that really changed, I guess, who I was and who I needed to become. So I needed to let go of those things to be able to move on and accept that it's okay to charge my worth. It's okay to earn a decent money and to have abundance in my life. It's okay to have those things because I'm able to create more impact and have a comfortable lifestyle for me and my family.
Love that.
My challenge, I think, I've recently gone through a bit of a roller coaster where we were in a scale-up mode. So I had a business partner and we were winning Telstra awards and we were growing at 400%, and then she left. And I had been in an integrator role and she was the visionary of the company. So I then had to make a very big decision. Do I shut my business down or do I keep going? And I had so much undermining of my own self-confidence. It was so weird because I'd been in the back of this business rather than the person out the front. I had to relearn that self-confidence to get back out there and go back into startup mode. and all of a sudden I was doing everything. So I'm still processing through that. It's been about a year, but now I've got a great team. We've got our amount of clients that are long-term with us has more than doubled. We're charging more. They're staying with us longer term. We're getting better results. The team's really happy. My husband's happy, which is great because he used to run all the accounts and he was having a nightmare. So, anyway, he was quite pleased that she left. Anyway, regardless. But it taught me the lesson that there's no such thing as perfect. There's no perfect situation. It's always evolving and always changing. And the word itself, perfect, can be said two ways. It's either perfect or it's to perfect something. And as long as you realise all we're doing is perfecting it as we're learning and as we're growing, and we just keep on perfecting until we get to a point where we're just really happy with what we're doing. But it's working out, and it's really interesting when you start to go, right, I need to pull my big girl pants on and decide to lead a business. But the coolest thing is you get to call the shots.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
1000%. Amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. It's been such a joy chatting with you. Please give them all a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, and if you found any value out of this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you get access to the episodes as soon as they are live, and make sure you come hang out with me on Instagram. You can find me at ChristineCorcoran_coach. Have an incredible week.